Today we are going to be exploring Jinx, a character in a fictional show that is debatably a very good representation on what it's like to struggle with psychosis and PTSD. Spoiler alert, I would definitely recommend watching at least the first 3 or so episodes before watching this video. I will be referring to her as Jinx or Powder. In the beginning of the series, when she was a child, she was referred to as Powder, but after all of these events, we can see her change her name to Jinx, which is very important in the writing of the show. When filmmakers make characters about mental illness, sometimes they'll accidentally over-exaggerate characters, glamorize mental illness, and romanticize, but even though this is a fantasy setting, we are able to see characters struggle with real emotions that a lot of us can relate to. The writers of this show never explicitly stated the mental illness that Jinx is suffering from. I should also say that I am not a professional in the field of psychology, and this video is not intended to diagnose anyone or this fictional character. Some say the emotion that goes along with it is so accurate, people with these actual symptoms might not want to watch. So trigger warning, because while a lot of this is fantasy based, the emotions that go along with it are very realistic. It's difficult to write mental illness because it is so hard to see what is going on inside people's heads, but the writers of this were actually able to do that. After Vi and Powder's parents were killed in a failed uprising, they were more or less adopted by Vander. They live in the Undercity, which is known for its poverty and oppression, violence and crime, corruption, lack of resources and opportunities. But she does have a small gang of friends with her sister Vi, Milo, and fellow adoptee Clagger. Even at this point in the show, Powder is depicted as a skilled inventor and engineer. She creates various weapons, gadgets, and explosives to help her friends. However, this might stem from her already existing fear of abandonment and just wanting to help and be accepted and be like the others. While going on a dangerous mission, Vi told Powder she needs to stay home because it's too dangerous for her, which led to her sneaking in afterward and inadvertently causing an explosion, and this even to the point where Powder shields her hand up and stops crying for a brief moment because she's afraid her sister is going to hit her again, but instead she walks away. Her sister was really the only person who supported her and didn't just think she was. This is an important part because she is so afraid of this abandonment that her last ditch effort at getting her sister to stay is saying her full name, Violet. In this situation, you can see that Vi was probably just going to go away and regather herself, but in this moment of desperation, she was able to be adopted by Silco. After that, us as viewers are forced to see Powder turn into Jinx. Some people say that her symptoms align with schizophrenia. She does have delusions and hallucinations, but this can also be in line with psychosis. She sees the faces of the people that she's killed. Years after, her sister has been in jail, but Jinx believes that she abandoned her. It's believed the hallucinations she had are very accurate and well done. They're shot with a jittery camera, constantly darting between unnatural camera angles. There are voices that you can't really hear them. It's difficult to hear, but you know that they're there. She'll interact with these voices, even saying at times, "You need to be quiet, I need to think."
So, here goes.
In this scene, you can see her being triggered into a flashback. The screen goes to visuals from what's happening in present time to the traumatic memory of when she accidentally killed her friends.
No, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
As she's running away, you can infer that she is not saying it was a mistake about the situation she just did. She's having a flashback about the past. When she's having these hallucinations of her family that she's killed, they're often altered with a graffiti or a scribble where she's trying to rewrite it. Their faces are often distorted and covered by some kind of spray paint. You can see these once happy memories being spray painted and distorted in her mind. During an action scene, we are able to see Jinx for the first time, and she gets triggered because she sees someone with pink hair and believed it to be her sister.
I can't lose you. Why did you leave me?
At this point, she gets triggered, and you can watch her go into the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, in which case we can see her freeze.
Because you're a Jinx!
I want to fight.
You're not ready.
During this time, she has all of these different images flashing at events, and it puts you back in that situation where you feel the same emotions you felt during this traumatic event. You can actually watch her lose control of her body. Some people think that they went too far with these scenes because of how realistic they are, but it helps you to understand what's going on inside her head and her actions. She sees and reasons with things that don't exist in reality, but they are real to her. When she sees her sister for the first time in years, she even asks if she's real because she doesn't know if she is a hallucination.
I never thought I'd see you again. Are you real?
She is desperately trying to disassociate herself from the past, but we know that this is not the truth. I say that a lot of people found this relatable if they have similar symptoms, but the reality is that everyone experiences mental health issues differently, so this definitely will not be relatable to everyone. For example, she makes these props of the people that she accidentally killed. This might be relatable to some in the way that you just want to escape these memories, you don't want to associate with them, but it definitely depends on the level of healing that you're at. But if this is not relatable to you, just remember there is no wrong way for you to have processed trauma. It is something that is oftentimes out of that person's control. Not everyone will have the same visual representation of hallucinations. The auditory hallucinations, hearing voices and sounds that are not present, might be exaggerated for dramatic purposes, along with the frequency and intensity of her experiences, and overall her symptoms can be seen as more fantastical than what is typically reported in real-life accounts. You can watch her struggle with relationships due to an extreme paranoia. For example, she convinced herself that Caitlyn, Vi's friend, was evil and somewhat of a replacement of her. While this might not have made sense to Vi or Caitlyn or anybody else, it made complete sense to her. Some people theorize that she may have had dissociative identity disorder, and I just want to say first off, I don't want to allude to the fact that she may have had, say, schizophrenia or psychosis, because I am not a professional and there can be some disorders that are similar, such as like schizoaffective, so I'm just not going to theorize. But the reason that she doesn't have dissociative identity disorder, despite having these voices in her head, and seemingly her deceased friends can be over her shoulder, she does have a consistency in identity. While there are large shifts in her behavior, she does not have the clear delineation between distinct identities or alters seen in DID, as well as she doesn't have amnesia. It's possible that her symptoms are more attributed to unresolved trauma and the psychological impact of past experiences rather than the presence of a distinct alter identity. Even when she might be acting villainous, we are able to sympathize with her because you can clearly see that they are a result of reliving past trauma and take seemingly irrational actions as a result. Although obviously this is a Netflix show and trauma or mental illness is never an excuse for bad behavior. It can more offer an explanation, not an excuse. While you are responsible for your own actions, her experiences are an example of how your childhood experiences can shape the person who you become. Some of us talk about trauma as though it's an event that we experience, but it can actually be more of our response to it. Jinx being told that she wasn't good enough as a child shaped the actions she took later in life. The character of Jinx is incredibly complex, but surprisingly resonated with a lot of us. From her traumatic past of struggles with identity and belonging, Jinx embodies the human experience in its rawest form. What did you think about the representation of mental illness within Jinx? I understand that a lot of events are not as fantastical or one singular event. However, it did resonate with a lot of us. Not the events themselves, but her reaction to it. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you enjoyed, and comment below. Thank you so much, it helps with the algorithm. And thank you so much to each and every one of my members for supporting my channel. It means the world to me. And to everyone, have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.